Good morning, it's Dr. Rebecca Cooper and welcome to the first video in our diabetic series. This video is going to be a simplified overview of what happens when we eat, particularly when we eat carbohydrates, starches, how are they digested, what happens to that glucose that it's broken down to, and then what happens in diabetes, because diabetes essentially is an interruption or a problem with the digestion, absorption of starches, of sugars. So enjoy the video and I hope it helps and makes sense. If you have any questions or queries, you are welcome to contact me. Just a reminder that I'm collaborating with Sister Laurie Fanamava from the Mpangeni Center for Diabetes. She's a diabetic specialist nurse. And yeah, these are information videos that we're giving and they do not take the place of talking to a healthcare professional who knows you. Thank you very much and enjoy your day. So here we have a simplified view of the digestive system. Here we have the stomach, so all the food will go into the stomach. It'll start to be digested before coming into the bloodstream. We can see here on the right the kidneys, the heart, the liver, fat and muscle cells, and here at the bottom that's just a close-up of the fat and muscle cells, and then at the top is the brain. Now something to take note of is that the heart, the liver, the fat and muscle cells have these gates, and the brain and the kidney do not have gates to them, and that's going to be important later on. When we eat carbohydrates, they get broken down into glucose, and that's what all of these little squares represent here. This is a G, and this represents all the glucose molecules. Now, glucose is important. It's the energy that our body uses. So all of our organs, our cells, need glucose to be able to survive and to perform their respective functions. Because the brain and the kidneys don't have a gate, the glucose can easily go from the bloodstream into the kidneys and from the bloodstream into the brain. However, the gate is blocking the glucose from going into the other organs. This is where insulin comes into the picture. Insulin is a hormone which is made in the pancreas. When there is a high blood glucose, insulin is released from the pancreas. It then goes to the cells and it sits in the gates. So if you look at the heart, the liver, the fat and muscle, insulin has now come and filled the hole to sit in the gate. Because the insulin is there and has completed the gate, this allows the glucose to travel from the bloodstream into the cells, from the bloodstream into the heart, from the bloodstream into the liver. So instead of all staying in the bloodstream, the glucose has now moved into the cells and can be used. When a person has type 2 diabetes, insulin is still made by the pancreas, but it doesn't sit nicely in the gate. So instead of filling that square, that triangle nicely the way that it did before, it is now sitting skew. Therefore, the glucose cannot travel into the heart, into the liver, and into the fat and muscle tissue. The glucose stays here in the bloodstream, and that's what gives the symptoms of diabetes, and that's going to be something we discuss in a later video. But this is essentially what happens with diabetes. The pancreas makes the insulin doesn't sit well, and so the glucose cannot go from the bloodstream into the cells and therefore can't be used.